the American Revolutionary War. All right, so we're going to go really far back to this guy named Johannes Gutenberg. Everybody say that. Johannes Gutenberg. And he's a guy from Germany. And where this is going to start is he's going to have an invention called the printing press. Okay? This is a really big deal because this made books easily made, really quick. Before, you had to do them handwritten. Okay, so if you wanted a copy of a book, you had to copy it yourself. So imagine copying a book that was 500 pages long, handwritten. So he invented the printing press. The invention made books more widely available to the average person and not just the wealthy upper class. So what happens with this is this increased literacy. Literacy is the ability to read. And when you read, you have your own thoughts. And this starts people thinking, and knowledge was not just for the upper class or the rich people anymore. It was for everybody. Okay, so this is a quick video on the Gutenberg printing press, which is kind of neat. And this is something that really changed the world. He had no idea this was going to change everything, but it did.
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good. No.
Books were expensive and rare during the Middle Ages. Each copy of a book typically had to be written by hand, copied page by page. In the mid-1400s, a German craftsman named Johannes Gutenberg developed a way to handle this process by machine, the first printing press. His invention combined movable pieces of metal type that could be reused with a press that could produce sharp impressions on paper over and over again. In Gutenberg's printing press, movable type was arranged over a flat wooden plate called the lower platen. Ink was applied to the type, and a sheet of paper was laid on top. An upper platen was brought down to meet the lower platen. The two plates pressed the paper and type together, creating sharp images on the paper. This kind of wooden printing press could print about 250 sheets per hour. The printing press made it possible to produce books and other texts quickly, accurately, and less expensively, which allowed them to be reproduced in greater numbers. Before the printing press, books belonged primarily to the upper classes. But with books cheaper and more readily available, the middle classes could access them as well. This led to an increase in the literacy and education of the public. The development of the printing press has been credited with helping to usher in the modern era by enabling the spread of information across all levels of society. The printing press has gone through many alterations and improvements in the centuries since its creation. Today, newspapers commonly use a method called offset printing. In this type of printing, a plate cylinder inks an image on a rubber cylinder, which then transfers or offsets the images to the paper being printed. The fastest offset presses can print about 70,000 sheets per hour, or about 280 times as many sheets as Gutenberg's press.
Okay. So the whole purpose of that is so that knowledge was not contained for just wealthy people. And one of the things, who can tell me what you think the first book that was printed on his printing press was? What's the most popular book in the world ever?
Harry Potter?
No, not 400 years ago.
Shakespeare?
Close, that's a great guess. Something thick that people want to know about.
The Bible?
The Bible. Now, at that time, the Bible was just for priests. In fact, a lot of people thought he was really evil for doing this and allowing people to read the Bible on their own. Okay? So the reason why I bring this up is that people are going to start to read and have knowledge. Okay? And they're going to start thinking about things. And that's going to lead to this. The age of exploration, where people are going to start to leave areas like Europe and go to other places around the world. Okay? One of the first guys to do this was Marco Polo. He wasn't just the guy who did was it the Geico commercial? And Marco Polo's in the pool. He's going, they're all playing Marco. How many played Marco Polo in the pool? And they're playing Marco Polo. He's like, see, at Marco Polo. You guys seen that one? Yeah. Well, Marco Polo was a real dude. He brought back spices and silks from China. So he left Europe and he went all the way over here to China by land. And it took him years and years and years and years. And what he brought back with him are things that people living in this part of the world had never seen. I've never felt silk before. Okay? Or put pepper on food. Okay? They've never had this stuff before, and they thought it was awesome, and they're willing to do what? Pay for it. And so they get the bright idea, hey, we should bring more stuff back from here and sell it and make money. But there's a problem. It takes forever to get there. And it's dangerous. And a lot of people get killed, and you get robbed by pirates and marauders and stuff like that. So they kept doing this, and they're like, there's got to be a better way. So to get here, they started sailing around Africa and back this way. And it was faster. And on a boat, you can put more stuff on there, right? So they put stuff on the boat, they brought it back, and they're making money. People are getting rich by doing this. This is super dangerous, and they're bringing products back nobody's ever heard before. They love it. So they keep saying, well, if I can get there faster, I can bring more stuff back and sell it more and make more money. So they want to find a faster route. So you can see all the different ways they're going there. And they're motivated by money. What's motivated mean?
Like, keep going.
Kind of.
It means you're really determined to.
You're determined, you want to do it. It's your reason for doing it. So the reason they're doing this is to make what? Money. Okay? So one of these guys is named Christopher Columbus. How many heard of Christopher Columbus? Okay? Well, he was an Italian guy, and he wanted to get in on this. Okay? He wanted to find a faster route to Asia by sailing west across the Atlantic Ocean. Instead of Asia, he landed in the islands off the coast of North and South America. And he claimed them for Spain. Now, a lot of these places, whatever country they're working for, they're going to take that land and claim it for that country. Okay? I need to go back. How do I go back? There we go. So he went from here to get to here by going here, but he ends up running into North and South America. Now, people from Europe have been there before. How many have heard of the Vikings? They had been there before. They didn't really tell too many people about it. Christopher Columbus came over here and landed in these islands down here, and he thought he was over here. But he wasn't. What did he call the people he saw, the natives he saw there? What did he call them? No. Indians, because he thought he was in the Indies. And the name kind of stuck, didn't it? So, and he did some not nice things. He captured some and took them back. He made them into slaves. But he also claimed this land for Spain. Most of the countries in South America, Central America, and parts of North America speak what language? Nope. Spanish. There are only two countries that speak English, the United States and Canada. Half of Canada speaks French. The rest of them speak Spanish of some form. Why? Because Spain was the first country to start settling here from Europe. Okay? So his discovery led to European countries coming over to North America. And because of these, they got rich. Spain became the most popular, not popular, but powerful country in the world because they discovered gold over here. And they conquered all the Native Americans in this area, and they took all their food, they took their money, all that fun stuff, and they became super powerful. Well, all the other countries in Europe are like, hey, we want to do that too. So one of those countries is England. And England is like, hey, let's send some people over there and start some colonies. And these are the first three they did. England sees how powerful Spain has become, and they want that too. They decided to start their own colonies north of the Spanish settlements in North America. The first one was Roanoke, which is here. It's an island off the coast of North Carolina. And they go there, and there's only like a couple hundred of them. And they're there for about 6-7 months, and like, this stinks. We're dying and starving. Let's go home. So they quit and go home. About a year or so later, they try it again. And it's not going well. They're running out of food, so they send their leader back to get more food. and he doesn't come back for 3 years. When he does get back, they're gone. It's known as the Lost Colony of Roanoke. Now, recently they've discovered where they went, which is pretty obvious. They went to go live with the Native Americans. But, so it was a failure. So a few years later, they're going to try again. It's going to be a place called Jamestown, which is in what's today Virginia. And they're going to settle there, and it's going to go pretty bad. The first winter, half of them all die. Number one, because they're dumb. They're there to make money. And what do? They think they can do what the Spanish did and just go find gold anywhere. Can you go dig a hole in the woods somewhere and find gold? No. But that's what they were doing. Instead of farming, taking care of themselves, hunting, fishing, no, they're out in the woods looking for gold. Is that going to happen? No. So that first year, half of them die. Okay? Eventually, the colony survives because a colonist named John Rolfe planted tobacco. Raise your hand if you know what tobacco is. Is it a good thing? No, but back then they didn't know that. And that crop, they sold it for money and they became pretty wealthy. So that colony was successful because of the crop of tobacco. A few years later, a couple hundred miles north, we have the Plymouth plantation. It's called Massachusetts. How many have heard of the Pilgrims? That's these people. These people come over here because they were treated badly because of their religion in England. They were a little bit different than everybody else. So they came over here, they started their colony, and guess what? The first winter, half of them died. Not because they were lazy, but because they arrived in December in Massachusetts in the middle of winter. And they froze and starved. But after that, they did pretty well. So these are the first colonies that the English had in here, and they stuck, especially the Jamestown and England. Then they started to grow. More and more people started coming over here. And the colonies increased in population. They started following English law, but they created their own governments. Now this is a big deal. These people were living 3,000 miles away from England, but yet they had their own government. So they were used to doing things on your own. What is that called when you're used to doing something on your own?
Being independent.
Being independent. They can do stuff on their own. And they're going to be like this for a couple hundred years. Having their own governments, doing their own stuff. Now, as more and more people get here, they make more and more money. And a lot of this money goes back to England, and England likes this. Okay? They're making so much money that they need to have people there to do the work for them. What are these people called who don't get paid to do the work for them? Slaves. Especially in the southern colonies, they have big plantations. They have tobacco and rice and things like that on them. And they're selling stuff and making a bunch of money. Okay? I'm not going to read all this to you. Now, things are going great. Other countries want some of this too. One of those other countries is France. And France has started having colonies up here in what is Canada. And they start moving down here, and the English colonies start moving that way. Well, what's going to happen is the English colonists are going to move into land that's claimed by France, and France is going to not like that, and it's going to start a war. It's called the French and Indian War, because the French and their Indian allies don't like the British. And it's a huge, massive war. And they're going to fight, and this is what the boundaries look like before the war. This is what it looks like afterward. The purple are the British. The British win. They pretty much kick France out. Okay? Now here's a problem. You see all this stuff right here? This is land claimed by the British. And the colonists are like, yeah, let's move there. We fought and won this war. Let's move to this land. And the British government said, no, guys. We told some of the Native Americans that, hey, if we win, we're going to let you guys have all of this land over here, and we're going to keep the colonists over here. We just wanted those silly French people out. And the colonists are like, wait a minute. We fought to get all this land. Now we can't go there? That's not fair. You give it to a bunch of crazy Native Americans? Ugh. So they don't like this. And the most expensive thing a government can do is to fight a war. Well, after the French and Indian War is over, Great Britain is in debt, which means they owe a lot of money. How does a government get money? You hear this all the time on TV. Taxes. Well, the British government had never really taxed the colonists ever. So now they're going to start taxing them to pay for the war. So they're going to get kind of upset about this. Why should we pay taxes for a war that we helped you win when we can't even move into the land we won? Doesn't make sense, does it? Also, according to British law, you can't tax somebody unless you have a representative in the government. Colonists had no representatives. So they are not happy about this. Okay? So they have this thing called no taxation without representation. Now this is very catchy.
Hey there, colonists, my name is King George. Will you give me money, pay the debt for the war? Hey there, colonists, my name is King George.
Told you it was catchy.
Will you give me money, pay the debt for the war? No taxation without representation. Don't take my money if I don't have a say. No taxation without representation. Don't take my money if I don't have a say. Hey there, colonists, my name is King George. Will you give me money, pay the debt for the war? Hey there, colonists, my name is King George. Will you give me money, pay the debt for the war? No taxation without representation. Don't take my money if I don't have a say. No taxation without representation. Don't take my money if I don't have a say.
Okay. So now that's stuck in your head. So the colonists didn't like the fact that they're being taxed and not have a say in the government on things that they really thought were unfair. Okay? That's it. Yep, that's it. Okay? And that's leading us right to where we were. So that's like 400 years of history in like 15 minutes.